Hello. Mark from MK1 sent me another yo-yo. This time, it's the brass Exia. The Brexia, if you would. That's what I'm calling the brass Exia for the rest of the video, by the way. The Brexia. Anyways, Mark didn't pay me or expect any particularly kind praise in return for sending me the Brexia. So, the yo-yo. This is a brassified version of MK1's Exia, if it wasn't obvious given the name. And this is the first release from MK1 that exceeds 65 grams in weight. Truly historic, at 66.3 grams. This is good, by the way. Spoilers, the Brexia is good. The weight of the Brexia adds over 2.5 grams to the Exia, which in and of itself was a great yo-yo. The original Exia was released in November of 2020. It was a good yo-yo. I owned one, and I planned on reviewing it, but it kind of just never happened. I was busy with school, and I just had other things to do. But, here's the thing. The TLDR of that yo-yo was that it was super min-maxed in a deceptive way, and it was just a crazy good generalist. The Exia was seriously good. I just don't own mine anymore. OG spun good, trust me, bro. Onto the actual Brexia. The Brexia has a 55.6 millimeter diameter, a very modern 47 millimeter width, a comfortably average gap width of 4.5 millimeters, different from the OG Exia's gap width of 4.8 millimeters, and a weight of 66.3 grams, which is different from the OG's of 63.67 grams. Without looking at the cross section, there's absolutely nothing I can say for certain is different between the two, besides the brass rims. Maybe the Brexia is just straight up the OG Exia, but Mark put brass in the CAD instead of steel, and he told the machine shop to print with brass instead of steel. Or maybe Mark tweaked the design to fit brass. I don't know. I'm not G2 Jake. I don't want to cut my yo-yos in half with a hacksaw. So I'm just going to delve into how it plays because I really don't have much else to say. So, the playstyle of the brass Exia is luxurious. I think that's the best way I can sum it up. I'll explain. The Brexia is a good performing yo-yo. Surprise, Mark made another yo-yo that plays extremely good. But what makes the Brexia special is its overall pacing and maneuverability, which is where that luxurious playstyle comes in. The general pacing of the Brexia is kinda slow. The Brexia is not naturally fast or quick, but the maneuverability is not sluggish or unfun. This makes it so the Brexia is very in tune with how you want it to move and play with it, and it doesn't fight you. It's not a fast-moving yo-yo, and you won't naturally find yourself wanting to push it to go fast. Not in a very restrictive or frustrating way, rather just a very comfortable, pleasant way. Across the board, that's just how the Brexia is. The pacing of the yo-yo carries it so hard. It's a marvel for technical play because of its pacing. These brass rings give the Brexia so much kick, it can just get through the combos, get through them comfortably, and keep going. It flows so nicely going through the steps of tech. The width isn't obtrusive for tech. In a way, it's almost like a turning point yo-yo in that its pacing and play feel is just so insanely good for technical play. But with the added benefits of being a generalized performance yo-yo instead of just being a pure tech yo-yo. The Brexia's width makes it nice and comfortable for zoning. Again, the power from the brass rims helps. The stability also helps boost the zoning a lot as well. The main thing against the Brexia would be how it plays for speed play. It's just not fast, so for speed play, it's wonky feeling. Crazy how a yo-yo I have defined as luxuriously and comfortably slow paced turns out not to be my top pick for a fast yo-yo. Zontals are great. The Brexia's shape is insanely good for zontals. The added power from the brass rims help push it a bit harder and give it a bit more stability through the zontals. So you don't need to be as deliberate and clean as you may need to be for other yo-yos. The pacing of the Brexia results in zontals kind of not feeling supernatural, but oh well, it's not really bad, just being honest. It has a little drag in the air during zontals, just just a little drag, never hurt anyone. But overall, the Brexia just plays great. It has comfortable pacing that makes it very pleasant to play with while still being high performance. Honestly, the Brexia plays how I wanted the Acanthus S to play. Not a big fan of that one. And, on topic of how the Brexia plays in comparison to other yo-yos, the Yo-Yo Factory R4, where is it? And the Yo-Yo Factory Miracle. So, the main thing is just that the Brexia is a bit more luxurious feeling than both of these. I'm just going to put it out there right away. Just a bit slower, more pleasant feeling, comfortable in the hand. You get the gist. But on a case-by-case basis, I'm going to start with the Miracle because it has brass rims like the Brexia. So, the main thing with the Miracle against the Brexia is that in terms of a raw look at the performance, the Miracle is generally more consistent. The Miracle's pacing is more standard, so you have more flexibility to play quicker and with a faster pace. The trade-off being that the slow pacing of the Brexia makes it feel more comfortable and easygoing. The Miracle's shape and weight distribution lends it to being an extremely easy yo-yo for doing horizontal tricks. The Brexia isn't far off, but it does need a touch more deliberate play to be as clean with compared to the Miracle. Overall, the Miracle is more of a put in the command and it executes kind of yo-yo over the Brexia, as opposed to the R4 and the Brexia. The R4 feels more naturally maneuverable and quick-paced than the Brexia. It moves faster, easier, and isn't as reined in as the Brexia with speed. In my opinion, this kind of means that the Brexia is a bit more well-controlled than the R4. This also comes with the trade-off that the Brexia is a bit more reliable and powerful than the R4. The heavier weight and denser brass rims in the Brexia give it a more solid feeling on the string. That tends to give it more raw spin time and power. When directly A-Bing the Brexia and R4, the Brexia almost makes the R4 seem anemic. You'll get through big, long combos with the Brexia and be able to keep going, as opposed to the R4, which you'll definitely need to reset. It's not that the R4 has less performance, it just doesn't have the power of the Brexia. The stability is roughly the same, so for horizontals and rough play, the R4 is basically equivalent to the Brexia. For zoning, the R4 and Brexia are similarly well equipped. For tech, the R4 and Brexia are almost similarly well equipped. In terms of ability to do tech, neither are bad and both are great. It's just the power and spin time on the R4 that, in my opinion, makes it so the Brexia is just a little bit better for tech. If you have a more relaxed, reined-in playstyle, you'll like the Brexia more. If you want something more quick and naturally maneuverable, you'll likely prefer the R4. In general, I think the Brexia is a shining star of an example of an inner ring bimetal. A lot of inner ring bimetals tend to not pack in enough material or weight into these inner rims, so they tend to be rather anemic. The brass Exia is a great example of an inner ring bimetal done right. The density and weight of the brass rims helps push the Brexia into being highly controlled, properly reined in, and luxurious while still being highly performant. Fully premium materials with the 7068 aluminum and brass rims. And for an absolute banger of a price at $95. Mark did good. Bro made an absolute banger. I'm placing it in S tier on my tier list. Thank you all for watching. Stay healthy. Adios.